When my mother passed away, I thought the world had ended. I had just turned 26, planning a future with my fiancé, Mason. We lived just a few blocks away from my childhood home, and everything in life felt like it was falling into place until that dreaded call came in the middle of the night. My father's trembling voice said only two words: "She's gone." The funeral was a blur. Friends and family came from all over, offering their condolences and casseroles. I remember holding my father's hand at the graveside service. His grip was tight, like he was afraid to let go of the only thing that still tethered him to her. My mom had been his high school sweetheart. They'd been married for over 30 years. I couldn't imagine the pain he was going through. In the weeks that followed, I found myself visiting him more often than not. At first, it was just to make sure he was eating. Then it became an emotional check-in. Eventually, I was doing laundry there again, tidying up the place like I did when I was a teenager. The house hadn't changed, but without Mom, it felt hollow. Empty. Like a shell of the home it used to be. One afternoon, about 3 weeks after the funeral, I came over with groceries. I was sorting things into the fridge when he walked into the kitchen looking unusually serious. "Jessica," he said, using the full tone he used when something was important, "I need to ask you something." I turned to look at him. "What's up, Dad?" "I want you to move back in. Just for a little while." I paused. "What? Why?" "You know Mason and I." He cut me off gently. I know. It's just this house is too quiet. I haven't been sleeping well. I eat dinner alone. I wake up alone. It's not something I'm used to." I could see the pain in his eyes. The loneliness. A kind of sadness I hadn't seen even during the funeral. I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Okay," I said finally. "But just for a little while." I talked it over with Mason. He understood, though he was hesitant. "It's a hard time," he said. "But if you think it'll help him heal, go for it. Just don't lose yourself in it, Jess." So I packed a small suitcase and returned to the house where I grew up. My old room was just as I had left it. Posters of bands from my teen years still clung to the walls. The bed was small, the mattress worn. But there was something comforting about being back. The first few days were surprisingly peaceful. I cooked dinner, we watched TV, and Dad even smiled a few times. It felt like progress. But then little things started happening. Strange requests. One night, he asked if I could sit in the living room with him until he fell asleep. "The house feels less empty when you're around," he said softly. I didn't think much of it. But the next night, he asked me to wear Mom's old robe because, as he put it, "You look just like her in it." That felt off. I brushed it aside, blaming grief for the strange behavior. After all, losing someone that significant could twist reality in ways we don't understand. Then there was the night I found him in the kitchen holding one of Mom's nightgowns. His back was to me, his shoulders trembling. "You remind me of her so much," he whispered when he turned to face me. "Sometimes I pretend she's still here." His eyes were glassy. I didn't know whether to hug him or run. I stayed. I comforted him. But inside, I started questioning everything. Was this normal grief? Or was he slipping into something else? A few nights later, everything became clear and frightening. We were having dinner. Just spaghetti and meatballs. A simple meal. He buttered his bread slowly, then looked up at me. "I've been thinking," he said, "about moving on." I smiled, relieved. "That's good, Dad. Mom wouldn't want you to be alone forever." He nodded. "I agree. But I don't want someone new. I want someone who understands me. Who understands this house. Who knows me." I tilted my head, confused. "Okay." He reached across the table and gently took my hand. "I want you to stay. Not just as my daughter, but as my partner." I froze. At first, I thought I misheard. That I'd misunderstood. That his words had meant something else. But then I saw the look in his eyes. The way he held my hand just a little too long. The pause in his breath. I yanked my hand away. "No, Dad. That's not okay." He immediately backtracked. Apologized. Said it was just a thought, that grief had twisted his brain, that he didn't mean it. I nodded, but I didn't believe him. That night, I called Mason. I told him everything. Jess, you need to get out of there, he said. Tonight. I didn't leave right away. Something in me needed closure. I needed to understand what was really going on. The next day, while Dad went for his morning walk, I went into his room. I hadn't snooped in years, but I was desperate for answers. I opened his desk drawer and found a stack of journals. Neatly arranged. Dated. Most of the entries were filled with pain. Long passages about missing Mom, about how the house felt like a prison, about how the nights dragged on. But as I read further, the tone shifted.
He wrote about me.
About how much I reminded him of her. About how maybe it was fate that brought me back into the house. One entry said, "Jessica is my light in this darkness." Maybe she was meant to come back, for more than just help. Maybe this is the universe telling me something. I felt my stomach twist. That night, I sat him down and told him I was leaving. "You need help, Dad," I said. "Real help. This is more than grief. This is something deeper, and it's not healthy." He didn't fight me. For a moment, he looked like a broken man. But then he nodded. "You're right," he said quietly. "I've been lost." I returned home to Mason. It felt like stepping into another world. I slept for 12 hours straight the first night back, and when I woke up, I cried. Not because of fear, but because of sadness. I had lost both parents in a way. One to death. The other to something I still couldn't quite name. Weeks passed. Dad started therapy. He joined a grief support group. I stayed in contact, but I kept boundaries. Slowly, he began to change. He planted new flowers in Mom's garden. Started cooking his own meals. Even made a few new friends from his group. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. As for me, I learned how complicated grief can be. How it can distort, manipulate, and even rewrite your sense of reality. But I also learned that love, real, genuine love, sometimes means walking away. Setting limits. Saying no. I still visit him once a week.
We talk about Mom.
We share stories, laugh, even cry sometimes.
But we never talk about that night.
And we never will.
Some things are better left in the past.
And some lines, once crossed, can never be uncrossed. But healing, that's still possible. Even after everything.